Welcome back. In the third video, we explored the hallmark symptom of narcolepsy, EDS, excessive daytime sleepiness. This fourth video focuses on another core symptom, DNS, disrupted nighttime sleep. While EDS involves sleepiness intruding on wakefulness, DNS is the opposite, wakefulness intruding on sleep. Together, they illustrate the sleep-wake state fragmentation characteristic of narcolepsy. DNS is commonly seen in those with type 1 narcolepsy, and though less frequent, can also occur in type 2. Like with all core symptoms of the disease, the severity can vary greatly from one person to another. Some will be lucky and barely experience the symptom, while others will face profound difficulties with DNS. It's truly challenging to navigate life when sleeping through the night feels impossible, and the most refreshed you ever really feel is like you've taken a decent nap. In the past, DNS was referred to as sleep fragmentation. Recently, it has been redefined as disrupted nighttime sleep. DNS is also termed or referred to in other ways, such as sleep instability or disrupted nocturnal sleep. The reality is that most people, including the vast majority of healthcare professionals, remain unaware of this symptom of the disease. DNS has only more recently been recognized and classified as one of the 5 key core dysfunctional REM symptoms of narcolepsy. While DNS is distinct from insomnia, the two very much do overlap. Insomnia is actually a category of sleep disorders, encompassing episodic, persistent, or chronic cases. While insomnia frequently co-occurs with psychological conditions like depression, mania, or anxiety, DNS itself strongly influences psychological imbalance. The continuous sleep-wake disruptions contribute to challenges such as heightened stress and emotional strain. Other sleep-wake disorders, such as obstructive sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, and parasomnias, also intersect with DNS. These conditions, like insomnia, share aspects of disrupted sleep, which adds complexity to accurately diagnosing and fully understanding the symptom. DNS differs from insomnia in that it primarily involves fragmented sleep with frequent awakenings, which may or may not lead to a quick return to sleep. Insomnia can intertwine with DNS, as individuals often find themselves struggling to fall back asleep after an awakening. This overlap makes distinguishing between the two conditions challenging. Living with DNS creates significant psychological and emotional strain. The 24-hour sleep-wake fragmentation in the disease not only amplifies stress and anxiety, but also erodes one's ability to maintain a sense of balance and stability in life. Over time, the cumulative effects take a toll on interpersonal relationships and communication, as the challenges of navigating such disruptions often remain invisible to others. For many, the experience feels profoundly isolating as well as bumpy on all fronts. DNS is also something that others have a hard time comprehending. When attempting to explain or describe the matter, you often find that they can't quite fathom nor easily relate to the experience. The disconnect between what you live with and what others understand adds another layer of emotional complexity, leaving individuals with narcolepsy feeling misunderstood and unsupported. As discussed in earlier videos, type 1 narcolepsy results from a deficiency or complete loss of orexin, a critical neuropeptide deep in the hypothalamus. Orexin plays a vital role in regulating core semi-autonomous body functions, including the balance between sleep and wake states. DNS stems from intrinsic sleep instability caused by this orexin deficiency. Quoting recent medical literature, the intrinsic sleep instability of narcolepsy results in frequent spontaneous wakings and sleep stage transitions, contributing to DNS. Sleep instability likely emerges in the setting of orexin insufficiency deficiency, but its exact pathophysiology remains unknown. DNS impairs quality of life among people with narcolepsy. The ripple effect of poor sleep and fragmented sleep cycles extend far beyond the symptom itself. Research highlights the connection between orexin deficiency, DNS, and broader health implications. For example, DNS has been associated with cardiovascular risk, as disrupted sleep impacts sympathetic nervous system activity. Quoting further, Reduced sleep quantity and quality is associated with numerous cardiovascular and metabolic disorders, including an increased risk of hypertension. Sleep disorders such as insomnia are associated with cardiometabolic dysfunction. This emerging research not only underscores the critical role of orexin in regulating sleep, but also sheds light on how narcolepsy is much more than just a sleep disorder. The cumulative negative effects of DNS contribute to a range of comorbidities, such as metabolic, cardiovascular, and psychological conditions. While much remains unknown, what is clear is that DNS has a far-reaching impact on overall health, and science has a long way to go in fully unraveling its complexities and implications. I strive to bridge the gap between medical terminology and the lived experience of narcolepsy. The vast variability and overlap in symptoms make communication difficult, compounded by the stark differences in language used by patients and medical professionals or researchers. These difficulties often result in a disconnect where one side may struggle to interpret, recognize, or fully acknowledge the intended meaning of the other. Adding to this complexity, there's also a substantial divide between the diagnostic side, the physiologic side, and the human lived experience side of the symptoms and overall disease. Just as each dictionary defines a word differently, with varying wording and meaning, each doctor brings their own opinion and perspective to each symptom and aspect of the disease. This diversity in interpretation can create inconsistencies in how the disease and its impact are understood, presented, addressed, and further complicating communication and support. It is with this in mind that I am beginning to conceptualize the idea of a narcolepsy symptom severity range tool. This would focus on providing individuals living with narcolepsy a clear understanding of their own symptoms, offering a concise range, absent, minimal, moderate, severe, for each symptom to shed light on the lived human experience and its nuances. While such a tool could also serve as an educational resource for doctors, its primary value lies in empowering those directly affected by the disease. Too often, simplistic approaches imposed by medical professionals risk creating division or defensiveness, as well as confusion and misunderstanding, further underscoring the need for clarity and consensus that barely seems to exist out there, in my opinion. Thank you for watching and following this series as we progress through the remaining 3 core symptoms and then onto a few videos touching on specific overlap across certain symptoms. The discussion will become increasingly abstract as the symptoms themselves are. Creating content like this series is both a labor of love and reflection of my personal journey. In addition to this series, my art has become a way to explore and express the complexities of living with narcolepsy, a visual language that complements the stories and insights I share here. You can find my art on Etsy at narcoplexicart.etsy.com and in my Printify store at narcoplexic.printify.me. My website, narcoplexic.com, also features links to these shops, making it easy to explore and support my creative work. Your support enables me to continue not only producing these videos, but also pursuing my passion for art and photography. Whether it's through subscribing, commenting, or checking out my Patreon, your encouragement fuels this work and empowers me to make a meaningful impact on our community. Together, we can bridge the gaps, foster understanding, and shed light on the lived human experience of narcolepsy in all their depth and nuance. Again, if you'd like to support my work, please check out the links in the description below. You'll find my Patreon page at patreon.com/narcoplexic, where you can also access unique content, behind-the-scenes material, and more. Don't forget to subscribe, ask questions, or leave comments below. Your support makes a huge difference.